You, being the big brother, picked up the concreting business. Where did that start for you? What was that? What was that like? Like, how did your father introduce that to you? What lessons were you taught early on? What was that journey like for you, man?
Like mum used to encourage me, right? Go help your dad. Constantly, go help your dad. Okay, no worries. And me and my dad, we used to get along. You know, I like that business thing. And in that area, he was, classed as a bit of a boss, and he drove it. So yeah, I learned a lot off him.
How old were you when you started learning from your dad?
So I used to go and play basketball and soccer and do training and games and all of that. But before it, we used to go and quote a concrete job. And I was like 8 years old, 10 years old in the wheelbarrow. I used to sit there, I used to try and touch a tool. My dad and my uncle used to slap my hand, don't touch the tool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it started back then.
At what point did you kind of get this feeling like, okay, it's probably up to me to run the family business?
Everyone thought I was involved in sport, because like you were saying, I was pretty good at what I was doing. So the fact that I ended up staying in business and having to go for a truck license, nobody believed this.
Really?
Yeah. Nobody thought I was going to, I was the underdog, if you know what I mean. I was a
Yeah.
bit of a gentle type of kid growing up, My brother was a bit more raw. I stopped soccer after basketball, after we hung out. Stopped soccer, and we're on this big job in a reserve. And my dad, I'm going to bring this story up, I love this story. Dad goes, so you're going to stop soccer? And I said, yeah. And he said, I had different expectations for you, And I was like, yeah, but I've always been with business with you, Dad. And he lights up a cigarette and he gives me a cigarette. We're about 17, right? So I'm like, okay, I've got some respect, having a conversation with the boss,
Yeah.
right, my dad. And he said, you can make some money in sport. I said, yeah, but we can make some money as well. He goes, you're not going to listen to me, are you? I said, Dad, I've started with you doing this, and let's keep going. So he's like, okay, so you want to continue on. He goes, so what truck do you want to drive? And, he's got a handful of trucks. And obviously, I'm like, yeah, the big one. Give me that big one. And Dad was like, you want that big one? I said, yeah. He goes, so you see that one over there? And I said, what? So the backfill truck is, that team cleans up all the work. So it was a bit older, that truck. And I said, the backfilling truck? And he said, yeah. I said, why am I going to? He goes, that's where you're going to start properly. I mean, he had me on that for 4 years, huh? I was cleaning, for 4 years. Then I moved on to the tipper trucks, where I was manually ripping up concrete with my hand and pouring it down, and multiple locations. And the office people would say, "You're killing yourself, mate. You're killing yourself." Yeah, that's the job. And then I sort of moved into being a labour hand to the concreter. I outsmarted that person. I outsmarted the team. So I became a supervisor, and then I became operations manager. And so I basically worked my way through it all.
Your old man just made you grind it all the way.
Yeah. That's tough, man.